Hey, Mike, can you hear me? Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, very clear now.
All right, cool. Kind of eerie. They
Yep.
need to shut those lights off behind
This,
me.
what is that?
They need to shut the lights off behind me. I'm at the
No,
hotel.
no, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
All right,
Are
yeah,
you
I had
back
to.
home or you still traveling?
No, I'm in Arizona right now.
Oh, you're
So
never in Houston, Mike. You just go around, huh? Just
yeah,
around.
yeah. Actually, next week, what are we gonna do next week? Because I'm Tuesday. It's gonna have to be Wednesday because Thursday night. No, you're Wednesday morning because Wednesday night I'm driving back from California. So we'll have to do it normal time, 8:30 Wednesday morning, uh, next week.
Okay, okay.
So
So you drive
8:30.
from Arizona to California or Houston to California?
No, California, Arizona to California. It's about 4 hours. Not that far.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
about 4 hours.
in America, that's really nice, huh? In
Yeah,
Indo, it's pretty
it's fine.
bad.
It's a freeway. It's about, yeah, it's 70, 80 miles an hour. I mean, it's pretty, yeah, it's a mess in Phoenix and it's a mess in LA, but getting from one to the other is pretty
Yep,
quick.
yep.
So,
Okay. I don't know if Erwin is gonna join. Let me touch him on the group here.
yeah, I was kind of late getting you guys that notice. I apologize. So it'd be 8:30 Wednesday. So that's actually 5:30 in California. So that'll actually work out well. So I'll try to make sure I'm back at the hotel by then.
Yep.
And
Okay.
then we can meet. All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
And then Thursday, 6:30 AZ. This is Cal. All right.
Yeah. So Mike, interesting. I found some small project, like the four-story housing, boarding
Yeah.
house, we call it here. Yeah, boarding
Yeah. I saw
house.
that email. Yeah.
Yeah, about so I calculate so they build it conventionally. Right now how the building usually replace in the days the scaffolding will be from the plywood, right? And then mesh and then the concrete pour. So since then more modernized is like using metal deck or bond decks, we call it bond deck, and then the
Mhm.
mesh on top. But this guy is still back on this on the conventional way with the scaffolding from the plywood. So he used double layer for the steel. Yeah. So I made a
Yeah.
calculation and presented to him. Uh,
You have to because you need with the flat mats, there's going over the beam, going over the walls and stuff. You have some tension at the bottom, some tension at the top, so you have to use a double mat for that.
okay. Yep. But I calculated, did the conversion and calculation and designed the mesh width and length. So for the the total four floors and the double, it will take it will take 64 sheets using ours and 95 sheets using the standard marketplace mesh, the 5.4 by 2.1. That
All right.
so we're 32% more efficient actually. Yeah. So I
Good.
presented to him. Yeah, and he's going through that, and he's gonna speak with the owner of the project. You know, hey, there's more efficient. You know, um, the only challenge we're facing now, Mike, because but anyways, so with that we're still good on a head-to-head versus the standard mesh price. Standard mesh is cheap, you know. It's like the one in Florida they make in Florida. In the Florida plant, they have the standard mesh. So it's cheap, it's always cheaper, 15%, 10-15% less than ours. But with that less sheets needed, we can catch up with them. Plus, we save time and labors on that. You know.
Yeah, you save all kinds of labor. Yeah.
Right, right. Um, yeah, and
Is this a
then
job is this a job you're bidding, or is it you're waiting for it to come around, or is it actually, going to happen soon?
oh, it's just barely the project just barely started. Just barely
Okay.
started. So I found it and then just approached the contractor directly.
All
And
right.
got to talk to him and submitted all the offer and everything I submitted to him. So it's just a matter of how, if he reply, yeah, okay, we're interested, or if he say no, but they also need column, the practical column.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
gonna need that as well.
Well, that's your without really saying it, you can say, look, I know you want the column because it works for you, but we don't do one without the other. Can't really tell them that because it pisses them off, but you got to have that in the back of your mind. It's like, yeah, this is a package deal.
Oh, okay.
Hey, everyone.
I might, sorry. Terus,
Oh, that's okay.
Poli, Bang,
Yeah.
they open for a bidding, or it's just, like a direct appointment? So they're gonna compare our product with others?
No, for the housing, there's no bidding. It depends on the owner, because the challenge is, see in Indonesia, I don't know in the States, but in Indonesia, people are so accustomed to, like, when it comes to wire mesh, then oh yeah, the one in the building material supply store is the 4 by 2.1, and then we talk about a practical column. Everyone is accustomed to rebar. They use the bezel around, and then tied it with the thin wire. So that's what they're accustomed to. So when we bring something new like this, it will take time for them to, oh yeah, let me have a look. So we have to educate them and explain to them what are these all about. So this four-story housing project, small project, but I submitted everything yesterday. Hopefully we'll hear back from him today or tomorrow. It's a small project, 64 sheets. Yeah, 64 using our mesh, but using the standard mesh will be 95. So 32% efficiency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you,
Yeah.
you touched on they get the standard mesh from, you say, like, supply houses? Is that what you were saying?
Like a shop, Mike, like store, like, the Home Depot in the States, there's Home Depot. Home Depot
Yeah.
is big, right? This one in Indonesia, we have so many building material store, like within few kilometers of where I live here in Jakarta, there are like probably 10 of them here.
Do they
They
have
sell
to?
split rock.
So is that where everybody buys the steel, or for where most of them buy steel from?
For a small project, like a small category project, like building houses, small offices, they will go to that kind of store, and they have like a middle-sized, they call it distributors, middle-sized distributor, seller, reseller. So either that, so depends on the project size. If it's like building this 4-story, 5-story housing, they usually go to the store like that, but they do special deal with the store, give me good price. Yeah.
Well,
This is interesting, Mike, in Indonesia. I mean, the place that we buy is a distributor, right? It's kind of distributor. So he get the mass from the producer, right? So the producer put the mass in the distributor, and this is like about like 10 to 15% discount for the price, and the price from the distributor still is very cheap.
Yeah, less.
You know,
Yeah,
it's hard
still
for us
less.
to compete. So let alone if you have to compete with the producer, you know. So the thing is, you know, I don't know whether they get the material sourcing cheaper, or you know, we still figure out about that. But now we can compete, but the price with this for this new project.
For the housing project, we're not able to compete the price, but we will beat them in terms of overall. So
Okay.
if you go like, if they're buying like 10 or 15 sheets, we're not going to beat them. But if we're talking about 50, 60, you know, this one I calculated for them, they need 95 sheets for the 4-story housing, building. Yeah. So using ours will be 64 sheets because we're longer and we can, you know, customize the width as well. So they would use 2.1. Ours is like 2.3, and then
Okay.
we take 150 off for the overlapping. Then we have two 150 clean cut or
Okay.
effective coverage. So then we bid them. So I said that, look, you will require 32 sheets less to use ours.
Okay. But how about the price for the total project?
Well, it
Maybe
will be
pers-
pretty. It will be very tight, very tight.
Okay.
But the point is, I said it to the contractor. I said, look, you probably still find your conventional mesh. Overall, you will save maybe 1 million or 2 or even 3-4 millions. But imagine how much time your man has to cut. Has to do cut 94 sheets. You know, as opposed to you have the sheet, you just place it and then pour the concrete. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the contractor, he's
Okay.
about my age. So
Okay.
it's easy
Good.
to talk to him.
You got to
But
use the word in place cost.
yeah, in place cost, yeah, effective
Your
coverage.
in place cost is going to be the same or
Yeah.
cheaper using the bigger mats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in that regard,
Okay.
Mhm.
go the supply houses and the warehouses.
Yeah.
When I go to them and offer them an alternate, say, look, you guys want to store some of this stuff?
Exactly.
Have them sell
Yeah.
it. You know, say, look, we'll send you 50 sheets of these monster
Yes.
sheets, see if you can
Exactly.
sell them.
Yep.
And have them do the work for you. I mean, yeah, it may not work, but I mean, send them 25 sheets. You know, send
Yeah.
them something. Say,
Yeah. I think it's different size as well, right? Not a standard size. You know.
yeah,
tell
you do a
them-
bigger size because then
Yeah.
somebody walks up there because it was, what is it, 2.1 by
5-4. 5-4-2-1.
Mm.
Yeah, 5-4-2.
5-4-2-1. So 5-4
In
is
place cost. Okay, that's a good word. In place cost. Okay.
so it's 2.1 is trying to do my math in my head is basically 2.1 meters. What size are you doing your conversion to the bigger mats?
Oh, we can do 7 meter, 7.5 meter
I see.
range, and the width is maximum 2.4, Mike,
Nice.
on the machine. 2.4. Well, 2.5, but we will have to leave, for the overhang and stuff. So 2.4 to 450 will be perfect.
Some overlapping, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
2.4 by, just say 2.4 by, so you're basically giving them closer to, instead of a 7 by 18,
Mhm.
and doing the conversion to the 5.4 by 2.1 is basically a 7 foot by 18 foot sheet. You're doing a 2.4
Yeah.
by,
So the size, the area, Mike, the area is 14 meters by 8.6. So that's why I offer 2.15. Then you get 4 sheets on the
I
width,
see.
and
Yeah.
then you get two sheets on the length when they place it. So it's very convenient, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You get
Yeah.
14. Ah, I'll give you two. Boom, boom. And then we get you another four. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. Then
Yeah.
you overlap, tight, finish, you know.
They don't have
So
that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
idea
so
for
the
educate
sheet that you're going to show them, if you did that, I'm just
Mhm.
thinking in terms of, okay, you know, if you got 10 distributors in the area,
Mhm.
I don't know, just see what they say. They may say no, but if they're used to seeing 7 foot by 18 foot sheets, I got to do it in terms of feet,
Mhm.
so I can keep,
Yep.
visual. And
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
you're gonna offer, if you do 2.224 by 7, just to say 7 meters, 7.0 meters, you're giving them a sheet that's 1 foot wider and 5 foot longer. Basically an 8 by 23 sheet. It's very common in the US. If you wanted to drop
Oh.
it like to a 6 or 6.5 and do it 8 by 20, it's a very common sheet. You show
Okay.
them something, I guarantee they're gonna have a contractor walk in there and say, oh, they're gonna get real quickly that, hey, oh, I can place fewer of these. It's worth a shot. I mean, eventually, yeah, I don't like selling to the but
Bottom price.
yeah, it's like, okay, but you want to sell directly to the contractors, but you're that's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time. You just see what they say, look, you guys, stock these for us or whatever. You got to think around, you know, like outside the box, I guess is kind of the way to think. Yeah, the mind mesh is also, we got to bring that up again because I got that in my notes. Whatever happened with that? We're waiting on the galvanizer, or we just can't compete with the
No,
Chinese.
no, no. The last meeting that I need a drawing from you, like a picture, like a promotion material for mining mass, because uh, I I think I already told you to galvanize is impossible because it's so expensive. What the Freeport want. I mean, it's so expensive in Indonesia to galvanize. But for the open mining, like coal mining is open mining, they don't need to be galvanized. So
It's basically okay.
yeah,
Open mining, yeah, because all they're doing,
yeah,
aren't walking underneath it. It's
mhm,
not walking. They're not walking in a tunnel. They just don't want the rocks
that's
to fall
true.
on
Yep,
them.
that's true. Yeah,
So, but you're competing directly with the Chinese on that one.
yep. Mhm.
But is that material typically a specific size, like a 2.1 or 2.154, or does it actually have? Do they do different sizes for those?
And that's kind
Yeah.
of like mesh standard. They have a standard, but maybe we can offer like different size for it.
If you give them something bigger, you got because they've got to attach them. They don't lap them necessarily, but
Hmm.
lapping in concrete's easy because once the concrete's cured,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's not, the steel's not moving anywhere. But if it's
Hmm.
not going into concrete, it's actually just retaining.
Hmm.
They've actually got to seal those two sheets together, otherwise they're going to come apart.
Okay.
So
Okay.
fewer
Oh.
joints or the fewer laps you have,
I see.
the bigger the mass, the
Hmm.
cover. I think your mind mesh guys are going to go get up all over that. It's like, look, yeah, we'll make as big a sheet as we can.
I see. Do you have any experience with the mining mass in CRI, Mike?
No, well, we
No.
used to in Arizona, we do, but it's not mind mesh because the mind mesh here has to be flush cut. They don't
Oh.
want any overhangs because
Oh.
it gets caught up on the bulkheads, that
Mm-hmm.
they put in. So they
Okay.
don't want, we don't do flush cut. We
Okay.
could, Colin swears up and down we can.
Mhm.
So, or we can get something that will allow us to trim that, and which would make a big difference. But we haven't done it yet. So
Okay.
we do open mine or open pit mesh.
Yep.
That's galvanized, not galvanized, and they use it
Not
for the same
galvanized.
thing.
Yeah.
They just push it up, and they
Mhm.
use soil nails to hold it up just to keep the rocks from falling on. But
Okay.
we actual mine mesh we don't use it for. But the
Okay.
open mesh you can, and there's enough of it. But I think it's just the same as with the concrete guys.
Mhm.
Give them a bigger sheet so they have fewer sheets they have to stitch together,
Yeah.
because they'll actually have to tie the wire
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's going to bend and it's going to get
Mhm.
all, and you're going to have stuff falling through it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Push the bigger sizes. Colin's coming out and he's going to work on your steel strength issue when he's out there.
That's good.
We talked to him about it today. He and Ken and I had in Cameron, we had quite a long conversation. One of the things that came up was him going out there. And then I talked
Mhm.
to him afterwards. It's like, yeah, we gotta figure out what's going on with your guys' steel. You gotta
Okay.
be able to um, produce a higher strength steel. It'll
Okay.
make all the difference in the world.
Mhm.
So he's working on that. And then Kenny brought up fencing. Have you guys looked into any kind of do you guys do they make fence for it's not real prevalent here, but they do, like livestock fence. And
Mike,
Okay.
actually, the Jaya Constructions, the company, the big company, I went for a presentation. They were
Mhm.
asking that's what they were asking for, fans for their data center. They're building the data center for BNI Bank, but they wanted 12 milli, 12 millimeter spacing. So even like the thumb, I mean the toe cannot, not fit that toe cannot go into that, step on it and climb, because it's to prevent people from jumping, climbing and burgling. So it's like the prisoner. Yeah. So they're asking for that. So I told them
Well, I mean,
right
yeah,
now.
that's a pure security one, but yeah, you can.
mm,
I mean, that may be more of an extreme case, but there is just in general maybe something we could look at.
Do you know
BRC, you
BRC?
mean?
But before we do the BRC, right? Not from while, I mean, fans, BRC fans.
Um, yeah, I think, I don't know, that was way back during Beat and
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, maybe David's time.
Mhm.
I know David did fencing before.
See.
He did it, and he made. I remember him talking to Ken about. He put stiff. They put what the hell they call them, crimps in them to stiffen them. He had something that I don't know how he did it, or he was talking about doing it, where they were making mesh, and you know how they put horizontal crimps. I don't know if you've ever seen that mesh, so that it in certain locations it becomes stiffer because it's when it's flush, it's real wavy. You can
Mhm.
move it, but if you put like you go on, you put a little crimp in it like that, it stiffens it up horizontally because it's got it keeps it from flexing.
Mm.
He was talking about doing that, or he was talking about the opportunities to do that.
Is
Which
this the
is
one, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I can't really see it, but does it show the little crimps down at the bottom? Or like
Let
yeah,
me see. Let
well
me
that
see.
does at the
Itu
top, yeah.
BRC bang. Ada
Yeah.
BRC itu.
Yeah, there it is down. Well, you kind of have that one at the bottom, but maybe they don't do it. But that's, yeah, it's like BRC fence, I'm sure, they probably make their own steel or
Yeah, I,
make their own fencing and do all that, but I'm sure they're getting an arm and a leg for it.
okay. But Mike, for the fans, if we do from mass, if it's gonna be, do we have to galvanize it or paint it? This
A
is
lot
gonna
of
last,
times
right? The color will be this color. I think will be different.
yeah, it's probably going to be galvanized or painted.
I see.
That all looks galvanized.
Mhm.
But you can. I know you have the dip guys that you talk to, but
Mhm.
they're charging an awful lot of money.
Mhm.
Probably too much for mesh, but the fence, I'm assuming just off the top of my head that a fence like that is probably going to be 2-3 times the margin for mesh, for concrete mesh.
Mhm.
There's less players. It's a finished product.
The
There's a big
finish.
difference between the price of a finished product versus the price of a raw material.
Mhm.
Mesh in concrete is a raw material. It's not a finished product. It's put
Mhm.
into the concrete. Just like rebar is a material. Concrete's a material. These are finished products.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, obviously there's other applications you can look, but it's like, okay, is there just a standard fence guy? Do they have places they put fences up around homes to keep the dogs from running away and
Mhm.
stuff like that? It's like, I don't know. We got to start thinking outside the box and looking more at more properties or more projects like the columns,
Mhm.
beams, that sort of thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
The beam?
Beam.
yeah, the beams, basically beam cages, just like the vertical columns. If
Mhm.
you got a beam, they have the same thing. They have the stirrups in them. It's just basically horizontal instead of vertical. You'll see those in structural and like towers and stuff. But Collins, he's going to come out. He's probably not going to be able to help you a whole lot when it comes to the sales part of things, or the talking to the DOTs or talking to um, yeah, he can talk about our product, but I can walk him through some of the. In fact, I will before he leaves to go out there. If you guys do those meetings, is okay. These are the things you have to concentrate on. So and he knows. Um, maybe I don't know. Maybe we get in one of our meetings while he's there. Is he going out next the week after next, right?
Yeah, the 15,
Yeah.
16. Mhm.
Yeah, not next week, the week after. So the next week I'll be back in Houston. It's like, okay, when he's there, let's have him be part
Mhm.
of our
Meeting.
meeting
Mhm.
with you guys,
Mhm.
and then I can go over directly with him what
Mhm.
you guys, that list that you sent. He was talking about some list and you wanted to go to
Yeah.
the Department of the Ministry of Transportation or something like that. It's like,
Mhm.
all right, go for it. If you can get an audience with them, yeah, it never hurts. But you've got to be prepared, because if you're going to take somebody of that level's time away, you've got to be able to tell them something that
That really. Yeah.
is really going to impress them and is really going to make a difference in their time.
Mhm.
And I can walk you through exactly what to tell them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Which is basically everything we've been talking about. Is like, look, there's standard mesh, and then there's custom mesh. We make custom mesh. We
Mhm.
can make bigger sheets. We can make tighter spacing. We can make varied spacing. We can make higher strength steel. We can make bigger steel. We can make smaller steel. We can make all this stuff. You don't have to get stuck with what people want you to buy because that's what they've already made.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what you're selling. That's what a standard is. It's
Mhm.
already made. None of it is ever made before it gets sold. Why
Mhm.
would anybody want to buy that?
Mhm.
I mean, you're gonna, I mean, yeah, you can. Unfortunately, everything you buy these days is standard. You know,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
buy a television. It's not like you pick the specs for a television.
yeah,
You get what you have.
yeah.
You got to get them past that mentality. It's like, look, don't just buy what's available. Let us make something for you because it does make that big of a difference. Though that's the kind of attitude and the kind of conversations that we have to have with
Uh,
ministries and stuff like that. Is like, look, this is, it's 2025 now. This isn't not 1980. Stop worrying. Just stop buying what people already have, and let us make you something that'll make the whole project better. It'll go faster, and ultimately you'll save money.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. We'll have him sit in on it. And we can
Yeah,
go
I
over.
think good idea.
But
And
he's
also,
he's definitely gonna, because there's two things. You've got to get better steel, more consistent steel, stronger steel. And
yeah,
two, you've got to be able to roll it. If you can get the best steel in the world, but if you can't roll it properly because your equipment isn't set up and you're not drawing it or squeezing it down enough,
mhm,
then it doesn't matter how good your steel is.
yeah,
Mike, is this um beam, the beam mesh cage?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, those may be walls, but yeah, it could be beam mesh. It doesn't really look like mesh, though. That looks like bar.
yeah. Then you
This
can
is a
make it.
hand tie rebar. It's a hand tie rebar.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's bigger. You'd have to be able to get up into probably diameter, what, half inch is D20 is a half inch, so it'd be diameter 13 or diameter I think number
Mm.
5 bar is diameter 16. Yeah. 16 millimeter wire. You'd have to get into something that high. I know you can't roll it now, but there's a lot more, and that's what Colin needs to do is come out and assess what he thinks what changes we could make. Because right now you roll 10 millimeters, the biggest you do.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to get higher, either figure out a way to get bigger rod so you can squeeze it down more, can reduce it more to get higher strength, or to get better, more consistent rod with a higher carbon in it already. One of those two things is we got to figure out, because that'll, we don't do anything for the cast in place industry, or I shouldn't say anything, but we do very, very little that
Mhm.
we don't convert from from a lower strength to a higher strength and take reduction in that area. It very rarely, and actually really the only time that we do is when it's already specified in a grade 80. And you can't reduce it, but it's already specified, so all you got to do is make it. You're not converting it.
Mhm.
So there's very little. So if you guys, and that's what I left him with is, man, you gotta get out there and you gotta help them do better,
Okay.
make sure your
Yeah.
machines run better, but also, is the roll line being operated
Yeah.
properly? Can you get bigger steel?
Yeah.
Can
Good.
you get up to 12 and a half, 13 millimeter? If you could do 13 millimeter, that's the equivalent of a number 4 rebar. Now you're opening up a lot more conversions.
Opportunity. Like, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, all right. So Polly, where are you headed this week? Are you guys back work? Yeah, I thought you had one of the sales guys coming out to work at the plant. One of the new sales guys. Is he there?
Barita, well,
Barita.
no, he will be here on the third week.
Third week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He'll be there the week that Colin's there.
So right now, Mike, the production is not that intense. And bringing him here, probably, what do you think? Not much for him to learn, because if the production is not really running intensely, then there's not much for him to learn in terms of production, seeing the mesh, how we make the spacing and all
Well,
those
what's he
processes.
doing? What's he
Well,
doing?
he's visiting the well, he goes around every day. He's got Chakra, that's a new company, and he's also visiting the customer in Central Java, like ADP. There's SBP, there is the Aris Putra APB, there's Kahabaton. There are like 3 or 4 more that if he can work to convince them, then that will make his sales there.
Are these cast in place or precast customers?
Precast.
Okay. Has he been able to sell them anything? Are these new guys that we haven't sold to before?
Well,
Are these new customer or potential new customers that we're trying to get? Or are these guys
Yeah.
we've actually sold to before?
I approached them in the past 2-3 times before, but honestly, it wasn't that really effective, because I did not really spend like 2-3 months in Central Java or spend 6 months there. Just went there, travel, visit, introduce, leave brochure, talk to them, and then come back again after, because I came back to Jakarta and do another work here, and travel there. It's as far as like 700 kilometers away. So now he's there, he can be more focused, covering all those.
Is he presenting you guys with is he giving you the same reports that you're giving us?
Yeah, every Monday.
I don't know that I didn't really look or to decipher a difference between them, but if he's got, yeah, obviously you got to pour over him and make sure he's doing what he needs to do. It's a little concerning he hasn't been with us long enough. What is he really telling these guys?
Mhm.
That's a concern because you don't know what he's telling them.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
you assume he knows a little bit about the product and they're already using mesh, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
to a certain extent. So, what is he specifically doing? Is he trying to sell them custom sheets or
Custom shoes.
versus the standards?
No, he's
Basically
trying to
the-
sell them custom sheets.
The same thing that Neffy's trying to do, basically.
Yeah. We all see, like yesterday, I went to Multicon to present to them the practical column, and then did a little, walkthrough on the conversion. The background of the conversion we do. It's mathematical, and it's structural engineering knowledge, so it's not like self-invention thing. And then, but I was just barely driving away from Multicon, and I got a message in asking for quotation, but this is the third quotation they're asking, but it's for standard 542.1. So I said, okay, I'll provide you with the quotation, but keep in mind, I just presented to you guys that we're capable of doing more than this, customized, which will increase your efficiency and save your time and money. But she's like, the boss asked for this. I'm like, okay, all right.
No,
I
you got to
would
get
love
to the
talk with
boss.
him. Yeah, that's what I asked.
There's
Can I talk to your boss?
That's the only solution, is to get to her boss. Whenever anybody tells you no because somebody above them said something, I would just out of respect for them and respect for you and respect for them and their time and effort, is like, okay, no offense, but this conversation, I mean, I do that.
Mhm.
That's like, this conversation's over. Anytime you have to go to your boss,
Yeah.
I know I'm talking to the wrong person. So if you don't want me to keep, you can do like, you guys know Nick Peel, right?
Nick,
Yeah.
In
Florida.
Florida.
Mhm.
call it the Nick Peel, the Nick Peel approach. He's going to bud the absolute shit out of you until you give him the boss's name. Otherwise, he's just going to peck at you and drive you crazy. That's the way you have to behave. With this lady, it's like, I'm not talking to you. I want to talk to your boss. I know he wants this, but I want to talk to him. I'm not giving you this until you let me talk to him. Because all you're doing is giving her a price that is going to be lower or going to be higher, right? If you can't give them, you have to be in charge of the conversation.
Yeah.
Don't ever let purchasing people be in charge of the conversation. You'll never win.
Yep. So in fact, Mike, there are two of them actually I met yesterday. They both are pretty in pretty good understanding with us over using this customized mesh, so the boss is the finance person, and that's the most difficult part. So that's what happened with me in Central Java. The SVP is very big company. We sat there with the project manager and verbally agree, shook hand. All right, ship us one, 40 feet Tronton, that's 40 feet, so 12 meter size of truck. Ship us one truck, one load. I said, good, well, I'll go home and I'll make it for you. And then the plant manager called me. He said, hey, Puck, put it on hold. The finance director, he said, no, we're going to continue with the normal approach. So I was like, can I speak with the finance director? He never returned my message, and well, I asked him a few times, but he said, sorry, I cannot help you much with that. In the end,
is this a cast in place contractor or precast?
Both. Both. So they build bridges for, connects the two villages on the ocean. So it's separated by a bay. And so they have to build this bridge so that the villagers from both villages do not have to drive around, adding 10 or 15 kilometers to reach the other village for business, for interactions, for whatever it is purpose. But so they're the one. Remember, I sent you a picture of that precasted slab. There's a big one, thick, 20 centimeter. Yeah, so that's the company. That was frustrating for me actually. Verbally and shook hand already. They agree with that, but the finance director was like, boom, the same with this lady. She and other staff, they're both in. We like this. They're in great understanding. This will save much time, but the finance person say, no. The boss, the finance boss. But Mike, sorry, you were asking about Central Java, just to share with you a little bit.
Yeah,
so this is.
I mean, you need to get past them. I don't know what else to tell you. That you got to get you can't if you're going to keep running into these roadblocks. You got to either get creative, or get aggressive, or just concentrate on talking to the field guys.
Yeah.
You get to them in front of if you actually do get in front of the finance director, the finance, like, okay, let's just say all of a sudden you just kind of stumble in and you're there and you're talking to them. It's like, you got to know exactly what you're going to say, because you've got them for about a minute. So you got to know exactly what you're going to say to them. The other thing is you guys, the 2.15421, what size wire is it typically?
They have from diameter 4 all the way to 10.
10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
What's the most common?
8 probably.
Most common? 5, 6,
5 and
8.
8.
Which one?
5 and 8.
5, 6, 8, 10. That's the most common. The most sought or bought after in the market is probably 5 and 6.
So, and it's 150 by 150.
Yeah, 150 by 150.
Okay, if you guys don't have anything or very much going on in the plant right now,
Yeah.
why don't you make 50 sheets of each of those 5 millimeter and 6 millimeter, 150 by 150 in the biggest sheets you can possibly make them in. Put them on the ground so you've got them, and you get talking about you're taking a pretty big risk, but I think really you're not for 100 sheets. You guys, you got to be able to show them what, even if you sell it to them for the price that they're getting their the standard sizes from, you got to be able to get this material in front of somebody, like the owner of a company or a financial director or whoever's like, just get it to him, especially if he's close. I don't know how close he is, but Central Java, maybe not that close. I don't know, but you got to have this product available for these guys to look at, just like you did with the column. That was pretty easy to make, a lot easier to carry around than a 8 foot by 20 foot sheet. But you have to show people you're serious about this. Like, yeah, we make this all the time. We sell this to everybody but you. What the hell's your problem? It
Seeing is
doesn't matter if it's true or not. It doesn't matter. It's like you're there to give it. You've got to prove to them that you're giving them, you're helping them, you're making a better product. They don't have the time for you, or they're not going to listen. It's like, then you got to find somebody who will. You got to find the right person who will. But as soon as you get that moment to talk to them, you've got to be prepared. And you got to tell them, I've got 50 sheets right now. I'll sell to you for whatever. Show me the invoice that you're buying your standard mesh for. And for 50 sheets, I will sell you these bigger sheets at that same exact price so you can see the difference. But I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take a stopwatch and I'm going to clock how much time it takes to place these so I can show you how much time, not so much that you would be saving using us. I'm going to show you how much time you're wasting using standard mesh. That's the attitude you have to have. Does that make sense?
makes sense.
Yes.
That's what I mean, I don't think, you're looking at, yeah, that's okay. 50 sheets, 100 sheets is a lot of steel, but I don't know how many tons it ends up being, but it's like, you
That's
gotta,
small.
but it's, we talked about getting something on the ground, you standard mesh, because you can't sit, plant can't sit not doing anything. Those guys aren't going to be ready.
Yeah.
So if you're going to make a standard mesh, make a sheet that's different than standard mesh. Make them a bigger sheet so you can show them the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
They can look at it and they can actually physically tell how much better it is. So I would, in fact, I would just do that. I mean, I wouldn't do them all, but do 5 millimeter and 6 millimeter, or just do 6 millimeter maybe.
Yep.
6 millimeters. It's about, what is that in inches? Hold on.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me get my.
I can do it. I got my calculator right here. 25.4. So it's a little less than quarter inch. So it's like a D4. Basically, it's like a D4. Yeah, somewhere in that range. So, yeah, it's not.
Did you say millimeter to inch, Mike?
Yeah.
Gosh. My calculator doesn't have that.
Yeah, it's well, the wire size, I'm just going, it's about a D4, maybe a little bit less. So it is pretty flimsy, but I don't see how if you did a 20, let's just say you do a 6.5 meter, 6.4 or something, get them something that's bigger. If you're using bigger wire, the longer sheets don't have as much effect because the sheets, the wire isn't as flimsy. If you're using smaller wire, the longer you go,
Yeah.
the more the sheet does this when you pick it up.
Yeah.
It drags in the middle. You got to pick it way up on the top or on the sides where you pick it in the middle. But I would, I mean, that's my suggestions for an approach is have something for them so they can physically see the difference.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Mike, we just got a word in, so there will be a PO sometime next week, BC 1200 box culvert and cover UDICH 1000. So maybe we can bring him over next week.
All right, yeah. If you got something, yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm
Yep,
glad
we
we're
got
getting
something.
something.
Yeah.
So, all right. But anyway, that's that was the approach I take, and I'll talk to Colin again
Okay.
before he gets there. All
Good.
right.
Yep.
Hey, so are we on for tomorrow at 8:30, Erwin?
Yeah. 8:30 Friday.
Okay, because that's my Thursday night. I'm in Arizona, so it'll be 6:30, so that'll work out good.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
8:30.
Yep, 8:30.
Mike.
And then next week I'm going to be traveling. I was telling Paulie, Tuesday night I'll be in California, so I can meet at 8:30 in the morning Wednesday,
Okay.
and then we can
Friday.
do Friday at 8:30 also.
8:30. Okay. Okay.
It's just 8:30 is tough for me when I'm in Houston because I'm always driving back.
Oh.
For the time being, but
Mhm.
in the beginning of March, we go back on daylight savings,
Mhm.
and it's back to where it
To-
goes from
Okay.
7:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
So we only got to get through another month, and then 8:30 works
Okay.
fine, just fine from
Okay.
now on. So, but
Okay.
for next week, let's do 8:30.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Mike,
Thank you, Mike.
Mike,
All right.
so when Colin comes over, it will
Yeah.
be great if we can get to grade 75 quality strength. So that's like minimum 650 MPa or around 65 kilogram force per square millimeter. So if we can get to that point, we have the confidence to approach the bigger project, and the conversion for
Well,
sure.
he's going to tell you. The first thing he's going to check is, okay, can your drawing line? Do you guys have a rolling? Is it an actual drawing line or is it a rolling line? I think it's just a drawing line.
Rolling line.
Well, if it's a rolling,
Well,
if you guys can get to the 25% reduction, if you guys can get that high, there shouldn't be any reason you guys can't get a higher strength steel. If you can't,
we follow, yeah. Sorry, Mike. We follow the Euro 16 to 22% guidance. That's what we do at the moment. But if we have to try to 25, we will try. But what's the risk to go up to 25? Breaking the roller or no?
it depends on, well, the wire could break if it's small.
Mm.
That could be the problem. Especially, do you guys have a tower that the steel goes up and around?
Not tower,
You
flat
go
like
straight
this.
through?
That's straight.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Yeah.
towers going up and over the tower, when it pulls it over the tower to straighten it out, that's where you have your biggest problem with wire breaking.
Oh,
The small when you're going through there.
Oh.
I
So,
see. I see.
Hmm.
So ours is pretty good
with the
then.
higher strength steel. I'm talking about with the higher strength steel.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but you guys, actually, I got to go back to it. So you guys are saying 10-10, if I remember right, 10-10 is all you can get consistently, right?
10-10. Well, yes, the material, yeah, the material, wire rod.
So it doesn't make any sense. If 1010, if it's qualifying as 1010, because we use 1010 all the time in that
Mm.
20 low 20% reduction and get grade 80 with no problem. So your steel mill has got either your rolling line's got an issue or your steel mill's got an issue,
Mm.
or both. So that is absolutely 100%
Mhm.
Colin's expertise. He
Okay.
will be able to nail that. That's what he did for CRI. Cameron worked on the welders. Colin worked on the roll line. He's a roll line expert.
Okay. Good.
He is. So he will know he will know anything and everything to be able to try to help you. I mean, I'm hoping anyway. He's definitely one of the best
Roll line.
at CRI for sure.
Okay.
So he's because that'll help, and then with anything else he can help with, he will. But the main thing, you do that will help your sales, no doubt.
Yeah, Mike, this is our test result from the certified government lab. This result only last month, like 2 weeks ago, the end of January, and that's how much we got for the tensile, 55.87. That's diameter 8 using grade 1010, and then the yield 54.74. We passed the minimum, but we're on the very border. The minimum is 55. We got 0.87 in it. So we passed. But that's pretty, narrow, slim though.
Yeah. And what's the rod size you're using?
8.
I thought you said you used I thought the wire was 8 or the
Oh,
rod was 8.
or to start with, 9.
So
9.
you take 9mm to 8mm,
Yes.
9mm rod to make 8mm wire.
Yeah.
All right. And what's that percent? I could have to figure it out by diameter, or by area, but I'm assuming that's around
Yeah.
18%,
45.
16, 18%.
Mhm.
About I believe it's about 17%, Mike. Hold on, let me.
So
4.5 times 4.5 times 3.14. 63. That's 63.58, and then 8 by 2 times 4 times 3.14. 50, 24. It's 4.332. So 23.34. So that's wrong.
you guys don't have 2 cassettes in your roll line, do you? You have two set up for two cassettes.
Now we have 2 cassettes. Now we have 2.
So you can, yeah, well, I don't know that you can get 9.5mm. I know you can get 10mm, but that's an awful far reduction. But if you double pass something, you may be able to get it. You can't do that with smaller wire because it'll break as it goes through the bulb walk. But
Yeah.
bigger wire, like 8mm, maybe you can get away with it, and you can, the more you reduce it, the stronger it's going to be. So, but anyway, he'll help you with all that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
You guys, if you don't have anything else, I'll talk to you tomorrow, Erwin, and
Yep.
Holly will meet next week.
Okay.
Let me know how your meetings go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mike. Bye.
Bye.
Tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.